Hello. Hey, everybody. Aloha and welcome. I'm Natalie. This is Life After a Cult. What do? We expose cult nonsense. We laugh at those absurdities, and hopefully we unbrainwash ourselves in the process. Because Scientology, the cult I grew up in, is not the only cult out there. We see more and more of it every day. Scientology got a wild week ahead. Actor David Cross took their personality test 3 times just for fun. We're going to talk about it. L. Ron Hubbard is somehow still celebrating birthdays from beyond the grave. But you know what? He's at Target too, so maybe we got to give it to him. He's going to be would be turning 114. We're going to talk about that. And Battlefield Earth, the movie, is back in conversation. We're going to talk about it. I have feelings about it. Oh, and Scientology is out here recruiting in Hollywood again, trying to recruit outside the Hollywood testing center. We're going to look at some Dan Walks LA. That is so funny. It's so great. And a bunch more stuff. So thank you everybody for being here. Big shout out to the moderators. Thank you for being here. Members, I see you. Aloha. Aloha to everybody in the live chat. And if you're on the replay, jump in those comments, hit the like button, interact. It is Aloha Friday. Look what I found in my closet. This is a vintage Aloha shirt. I mean, it's some type of polyester. I think this was given to Tony from my dad years ago. I mean, look at this collar. I can't believe like it halfway fits me. That is kind of weird. But anyways, we weren't hugely different in size. It's like he was broader shouldered, but I've got these. And so, it takes up some of the space. But yes, my vintage Aloha wear on this Aloha Friday. Aloha. All right, let's get into it and let's start talking about Battlefield Earth, the movie, because there's this article out asking a question I feel like I already know the answer to, but there's some interesting tea in this article. That, of course, is John Travolta, the only actor brave enough to defend Battlefield Earth. It wasn't as bad as people said. It was as bad as people said. I mean, spoiler alert, I'll tell you right now, was Battlefield Earth really that bad? Yes, it was. It was really that bad. Now, I liked the book. I know many people didn't like the book. I liked the book. I enjoyed the book. The movie, I was a full-blown dedicated Scientologist when I saw the movie Battlefield Earth, and I hated it. My whole family hated it. We were embarrassed by it. That's how bad it was. But you guys tell me what you think. Did you see the movie Battlefield Earth? Jump in those comments. Jump in the live chat. Tell me your thoughts. If you liked it, that's fine too. So anyways, the movie came out in 2000, right? In 2000, a movie was released that was such a laughingstock that it almost entirely derailed the career of its A-list star. The fact that it didn't was a minor miracle, although it did significantly alter his image in the eyes of the public and clung to him like a bad smell for the next 25 years. This film was, of course, Battlefield Earth, and the star was John Travolta, one of Hollywood's most preeminent Scientologists. So blah, 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 the movie sucked. But here's the interesting part for me. Here we go. So the book was the number one. Okay, this part here. That book was on the number one best-selling list in the early 80s. Coates revealed. This is where it gets interesting. It wasn't about Scientology. It was really a great science fiction book, even though we know who wrote it. While Coates claim that the book rose to the top of the bestseller chart is accurate, he may have to be forgiven for being unaware of the controversy that surrounded it. You see, not long after it sold 150,000 copies, a rumor emerged that the cult of Scientology, it says church, but I just got to go right to cult today. A rumor emerged that the cult of Scientology had organized a book buying campaign designed to vault it to the top of the charts. In fact, the scuttlebutt was that certain cult members bought as many as 800 copies of the novel, and 2 organizations bought 30,000 copies directly from the publisher at a wholesale discount. Whatever the case, Coates can't be expected to know the ins and outs of the book sales from 4 decades ago. What he does know, though, is that while Battlefield Earth wasn't the greatest film, it also wasn't as bad as people say it was. I disagree with that completely. I thought it was horrible. He felt Travolta and director Roger Christian, an incredible human being who directed that thing beautifully, got a raw deal on all corners. For me, the biggest takeaway is that they're bringing up the truth, the actions that Scientology took by buying. I mean, two organizations bought 30,000 copies directly from the publisher at a wholesale discount. This is what Scientology does. We had it, we saw it. I mean, my gosh, Tom Cruise movies. That's about the only time Sea Org members got to go to the movies. Now, back in my day, gather around for a little back in my day, y'all. Back in my day, on Christmas, we'd go to a movie. Now, if Tom Cruise had a movie out back in my day, I at least for me, I don't remember going to any Tom Cruise movies. But later on, we heard that Scientology would buy all these tickets and send all these people to go fill seats. And you would think like he's one of the biggest actors in America. Why you got to do that? Or what was that about? But they did, and now this is out and it's a conversation again about the book and what they were doing. So I love it. I'm here for it. What hilarious news on an Aloha Friday. By the way, y'all, there is a question of the day in the chat. If you have not yet answered it, it's what would you ask a current Scientologist? If you could ask them anything and they had to be honest, what would you ask a current Scientologist? Please keep your answers coming. Nancy's helping me star those, and we're actually going to we're gonna talk about some of those a little bit later. So keep that coming. If you're on the replay, please jump in those comments. If you could ask a current Scientologist anything and they were going to answer honestly, what would you ask them? We got some great ones so far, but please do keep those coming. All right, moving on now to David Cross. David Cross is an actor. I know him mostly from, oh my gosh, the menopause just took it away. I just had it. What was it? Arrested Development. David Cross has been an actor for a long time. He's got a large body of work. Me personally, I know him from being in Arrested Development. And he was having a conversation about, so are you guys familiar with the group Tool? I wasn't, but I knew they had a tie to Scientology Celebrity Center, that they did this crazy concert there. And I don't know all the background about that, but he's basically interviewing a guy from Tool. And the video was about Tool's infamous 1993 Scientology Center show. But in this interview, David Cross talks about his experience with Scientology, which of course I find super, super interesting. So let's take a look at this, because he even talks about the personality test and how many times he did it.
It's their personality test, and I've done it, as I said, 3 times. Once in Boston and 2 in LA. Third time I did it, I did have some sort of celebrity, so they treated me a little differently. But it's hasn't changed, or at least didn't change in that time period. It was called the Oxford Standardized Personality Test.
It's actually called the Oxford Capacity Analysis,
which is just made up. They put the word Oxford there,
and that's totally true.
And then every question is like, you get upset and yell at your parents, and then it's just 3, it's a multiple choice, like always, never, sometimes. And they just have it done so that however you answer, they can apply some kind of logic to it. Like, well, this is not good. You shouldn't always yell at your parents, or you shouldn't even, sometimes you shouldn't, you need to be able to rein in your emotions. Or if you never yell at your parents, you're hiding your emotions, because we all want to yell sometimes, whatever.
And that is such an excellent point, because that's exactly what happens. That is how Scientology uses this personality test as a recruitment tool. They will twist something in opposite ways to fit that narrative. You communicate too much, you communicate too little. You're too open, you're not open enough. That is how insidious this test is. The entire time I was in Scientology, I had no understanding of the level of fraud that this test was about. I knew it was used as a tool to recruit, but because I was a good little Scientologist, born and raised, I just believed it. Oh, and it's the Oxford capacity analysis. Oh my God. Natalie today looks back on Scientologist Natalie, and Natalie today feels a bit cringe about it. But what do you do? I was in a cult. But he's totally right about that completely. I'm going to link that down below. It's a really interesting interview because he talks about this concert that this group Tool did at the Celebrity Center, and it was wild. They share clips of some of the video. So if you get a chance and you're interested in that, check it out. When we're all done, I'll link everything and you can see it. But I love that he talked about the personality test and shine light on what a fraud it is, like much in Scientology. Kind of like L. Ron Hubbard turning 114 over on Target 2 or wherever the hell he is. Brace yourselves. You might want to dust off your hip hooray Scientology, because L. Ron Hubbard is turning 114. We should wake up the Office of Special Affairs for this, because this is really big news about their founder. Oh, look, my Davies are right here. David Miscavige, leader of Scientology. Wake up your Office of Special Affairs. Boom, boom. Office of Special Affairs, my lovelies. It is Aloha Friday. Yes, it is, which means I'm super happy. You cannot bring a girl down. I mean, let's be honest. I'm pretty happy in general because I get to come on here almost every single day and talk about Scientology and cults. But today is Aloha Friday. So we wake you up with a little bit of aloha, but you also need to know what's up, because we're about to get into some stuff. The underground bunker. Everybody get ready to go to the bunker. Nope. Boom. Popping back up in the bunker. Check this out. Tony Ortega did this article. I absolutely loved it. Scientology founder L. Ron Hubbard is turning 114, and here's the date of his party. First off, y'all know there's been contradictory information about L. Ron Hubbard after his death. One narrative is he could no longer do the research of the upper levels on Scientology's bridge to total freedom. So he had to discard his body like yesterday's trash, so he could go on to Target 2 and continue this much needed research for Scientology. The other narrative is we're going to build him 3-bedroom, 2-bath homes at each of the vaults where we're storing Scientology data in case of the apocalypse, because L. Ron Hubbard's going to come back. Yes, he's going to come back. I'm not sure which of those two narratives are actually stranger. I'm not sure that it's a competition. It's a little potato. You know what I'm saying? Target 2 versus he's coming back. Well, where you at? Where you at, L. Ron Hubbard? As a Sea Org member, I was told between lives, y'all know that we actually were told we had a certain amount of time between lives to return to duty. Another contradiction in Scientology, because you know what that age was? Anyone know in the chat? There's a delay, so I'll probably say it before I see your answers. The age between lives. So you're a Sea Org member, right? You get no medical care. You're stuffed in some facility. No one's taking care of you. And sadly, you pass away alone. You have 21 years to return to get another body in a Scientology family. Now, Lacey, 21. It's more than 21 years, Mock. It's been more than 21 years for sure since he died in 86. But you have 21 years. So here's the contradiction. Number one, please, girl, please. Scientology is not waiting for someone to turn 21 to recruit them into the Sea Org. That is a complete and utter contradiction, despite the fact that it's, you have 21 years. Then where is L. Ron Hubbard? Where is he? And some Scientologists do believe he's going to return. There's an office in every Scientology organization. And I know Scientology likes to say it's out of respect. It's just out of respect. No, you think he's coming back. There was a time where they would lay out his cigarettes and everything. Embrace it, Scientology, embrace it. But tell us, is he on Target 2 or is he coming back to run Scientology? And let's be honest, David Miscavige is not going to let him run Scientology. I mean, come on. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So let's take a look at this because it's got some great info in it. A big thank you to Alex Barnes Ross, who sent us an invite to this year's L. Ron Hubbard birthday bash in Clearwater, Florida. What's that? You say you weren't invited? Well, okay. If it's true that this is a private Cult of Scientology event, one of the biggest events on the cult calendar every year, but we're happy at least to receive a copy of the announcement that it will be taking place on, sharpen your pencils, my friends, Saturday, March 15th, and as ever at Ruth Eckerd Hall. So this is when the Florida L. Ron Hubbard birthday event is taking place March 15th, Ruth Eckerd Hall. Ron is turning 114 years old. He was born on March 13th, 1911 in Tilden, Nebraska. Shout out to Nebraska. What a bummer. What's Nebraska known for? The birthplace of L. Ron Hubbard. There's more. There's more to it. In fact, I think in Nebraska, I think Hormel has plants in Nebraska that make Spam. I don't know why that's sticking in my head. Was it Nebraska? It's Minnesota and Nebraska, or it was at one point. Anyways, I digress. What do you get someone who's turning 114? And how do you get it to him since Ron voluntarily left his body on January 24th, 1986, in order, it was said, to pursue his researches into the higher levels of Scientology secrets without the encumbrance of a physical body and somewhere else in the galaxy? Hey, Ron, you still out there? Can you imagine? It's like, paging L. Ron Hubbard. Paging L. Ron Hubbard. Please come to the nearest courtesy phone. Yes, we need you to report back. You got a birthday coming up. Please report to the nearest courtesy phone. Yeah, L. Ron Hubbard is not showing up. I don't know what happens to people when they die. I don't know what happens to cult leaders when they die, but I just don't think that this is a thing. I really don't. So let's see. So March 15th, it's going to be in Clearwater. Here's the save the date. Doors open at 6. The event's going to start at 7 at Ruth Eckerd Hall. Now, Los Angeles will have their own. I haven't heard anything about that yet. But each year, Scientologists hold a few big international events that all wealthy church members are expected to attend if they can get there. For an organization that claims to have millions of members, though Ruth Eckerd Hall has managed to be big enough for this celebration year after year, even though it only has a capacity of 2,180. In other words, the fact that the LRH birthday event never needs a bigger venue is one of the pieces of evidence that Scientology really only has about 20,000 active members around the world. That is something that I remember being in Scientology and being like, this place is not that big. Maybe they got overflow outside. Where are all the people at? Where are all the people at? Trust me, not every Scientologist, but a lot of them. We were sitting there being like, girl, please, like what's happening here? Where is everybody? You just don't voice it. You don't say it because you don't want to get in trouble. You don't want to be interrogated. You don't want to get security checked, any of the things. So this is happening in Clearwater. This is from last year. Remember that picture of John Travolta and Elizabeth Moss that somehow went away from Scientology's website? In a photo from Scientology's own press release about the event, we spotted a very pregnant Elizabeth Moss in the front row next to John Travolta, wearing a funny, puffy pirate shirt, with both of them giving cult leader David Miscavige a standing ovation, because that's what you have to do. I got to tell you, don't miss it. I don't miss all the up and the down and the up and the down and the hip, hip, hooray for the dear leader. Oh my gosh. Maybe that's why my knees are so bad today. All the ups and downs from Scientology. Of a getting up and clapping, standing there, then sitting down. It messed up my knees. So that's something to keep an eye out for. There's more info there in the article. I'm going to link it down below. You can check out the whole thing. Here's some other celebrities. Michael Pena, you can see him back there. This also was 2023. You can see him in the crowd behind wealthy donor Tom Cummins. That must be that guy there. Clapping. Hip, hip, hooray. So yeah, Scientologists everywhere are getting ready to dust off their hip, hip, hoorays for this event. We'll see what happens in Los Angeles. If somebody knows already the when and where in LA, let me know. Let me know. Throw it in the chat. If you're on the replay, jump in those comments. Hey, Jesse, if L. Ron doesn't show up, does that make him a suppressive person? Does he have to do a security check? Trust me, anybody showing up claiming to be L. Ron Hubbard is, probably not even going to get a security check, because even Scientology knows it's BS. They're not going to accept that. There was a guy, I think he's in jail or prison, I'm not sure, who claims to be the reincarnation of L. Ron Hubbard, and he actually has a following. There's a cult for everybody, you all. He has an actual following. It's crazy. All right, let's talk about something else that I thought was crazy, hilarious, and I'm so here for it. There's this doctor on YouTube, Dr. Joseph. He's got, like a little over 95,000 subscribers here on YouTube. He felt the need, because he was getting questions, to point out, y'all, I'm not a Scientologist. Which, Office of Special Affairs, just how bad is it, right? How bad is it in your religion for people to have to be like, oh, no, I'm not a Scientologist. I mean, we might see eye to eye on the overprescription of psychiatric medication, but I am not a Scientologist. Listen to this. This is fantastic. I feel like we're going to see a lot more of these videos.
Am I a Scientologist? And so sometimes I see these comments on the video, and so I figured I would respond to it. I don't know too much about Scientology. I think they think mental illness is like a spiritual problem, and that the drugs are used to control people. That is my understanding. And I think they're mostly wholesale against them. And that's not me. The problem that I have with psychiatric medications is I think there's about 1 million things you could do before you prescribe them. Dietary changes, exercise.
He goes on to talk about, how he treats and his views on that. But the important thing was, oh no, I'm not a Scientologist. Marked safe from Scientology, Dr. Joseph. I wanted to make sure the Office of Special Affairs saw that one, because it's a tsunami. You know how before a tsunami comes, the water retreats, the water pulls back. Suddenly you can see all the shells on the beach. There's kind of a tingling in the air, and you're like, whoa, what's happening? This is kind of cool. But wait a minute, this doesn't seem right. And then off in the distance, you see the wave building. This is what's happening, Office of Special Affairs. That pullback of the water, that's a sign. The tsunami is coming. Let's be real. It's been coming. It just happens in waves. But when other content creators or doctors have to go out of their way to point out they are not a Scientologist, I don't know. To me, it just doesn't scream success or expansion. You guys tell me what you think. But check out this next story here. This is another one that just had me cracking up. So this also is in Clearwater, and hopefully, usually on Friday nights, a lot of the Clearwater crew is out there having pizza and protesting Scientology in Clearwater. Hope to see them out there, but want to let you know that this event is coming up. This is in Clearwater. L. Ron Hubbard fiction comes to life at the Scientology Information Center. This was posted by Pat. She's a neighbor. It's pretty much, I think it's safe to assume that it is Pat Harney. You know Pat Harney, Aaron Smith Levin are growing up in Scientology, and when he's out there, likes to go visit and say hi to Pat at the Scientology Information Center. I can only assume this is the same Pat, because let's be real, they only seem to have one person working there, and her name is Pat. Here is what they are doing on March 1st, y'all. March 1st, 3 p.m. at 500 Cleveland Street in Clearwater. Starting on March 1st at 3 p.m., the L. Ron Hubbard East Coast Golden Age Theater will perform a dramatic reading of River Driver at the Scientology Information Center. The community is invited to enjoy this old-time Golden Age radio theater style drama, River Driver, a pulp fiction story written by L. Ron Hubbard and first published in 1936. The Scientology Information Center is located in the historic Clearwater building at 500 Cleveland Street in downtown Clearwater. Just look for the protesters. If you see like the Tom Cruise cutout, just keep going and go right. That's how they should give directions to this information center. The Scientology Information Center, okay, that's where it's located. Before television, families would huddle around the radio to listen to their favorite show, said Pat Harney, the manager of the center. On March 1st, we invite families to experience the excitement of old-time radio with the visual enactment of a good story at the Scientology Information Center. Okay, I got a couple things to say about this. One, I mean, I'm not hating on them because it's an old-timey radio thing. I mean, that can be kind of cool. But you know why? You know why they're really doing this? This is my theory, my opinion, my speculation. They're just trying to get people off the internet. No, don't go on the internet. Let's come here and let's reenact some old-timey radio stuff. Yes, put down your phone. No, stop Googling Scientology. I think that's what they're doing here. And it sounds like it's going to be a series. Like it's going to be a thing. You know what I'm saying? I think it's going to be a thing. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Oh, Perth, I saw your comment. Yeah, well, you know what? Doing it on the 13th is still super awesome because that's L. Ron Hubbard's birthday. And the 15th is only the event in Clearwater. I don't know what they're doing in LA, but no, I think you're totally on point with the 13th. In my opinion, I think that's a great date to do a Scientology protest there. Is it in Perth or is it in Melbourne? Melbourne. You know what I'm saying. I think this one is in Perth, but can you throw it in the chat? Unless you already did, and I'm the only one who doesn't recall exactly where it was. Oh, thank you for the reminder, Arkansas Flamingo. Do a solid. Hit that like and subscribe, y'all. I'll keep an eye out for that there. All right. So yeah, this thing is happening. I think they're just trying to get people off the internet. You watch, this will be the next big thing in Scientology. We're no longer on the internet. We're no longer streaming or watching YouTube. There's way too many documentaries out there telling the truth about Scientology. We're not doing that. We're doing come and watch us do old-timey radio based on something from the 1930s that L. Ron Hubbard wrote. Here's the other thing. This is a Scientology testing center. So it seems like, okay, you can't get people in to learn about Scientology. You know this. So you're going to bait them in with some entertainment based on something L. Ron Hubbard wrote in 1936. Because that'll be so much better. Because I don't know about you guys, but I'm not sure there's people lining up to watch something like this. Even though low key, I mean, I think it's kind of a fun idea, but for all of the wrong reasons. Because I like a good performative piece. You know what I'm saying? I do. Scientology Up North says there will be suppressive person birthday celebrations in Copenhagen as well. Oh, how lovely. There should be everywhere. I hope that there is. That's fantastic. Now, there is a YouTube content creators. A bunch of you sent me this clip, and I'm so glad you did because I didn't know about her channel, and I love finding new creators. This is Melissa Dougherty. She did a video on Scientology, the most bizarre cult in America. Take a look at this, but hold on just a sec. Don't let me forget what I was doing. Phil Jones, those Golden Age theater productions have been going on for years in Los Angeles. Yes, that is right. Didn't they used to do them, Phil, out of the, what is it called? Author Services. I think they used to do them out of there for a while. Maybe they still do, but you're totally right, Phil. Okay, so to this clip here from Melissa Dougherty about Scientology. She's interviewing a woman who, she's not a former member, but she does seem to know a lot about Scientology. Take a look.
They believe in reincarnation. They believe that you will come back. They're still waiting for L. Ron Hubbard to come back. They will say that he just discarded his body for further research, but will be returning one day, which is why in that South Park episode, they said that the kid was the reincarnation of L. Ron Hubbard. They're still waiting for, like, L. Ron Hubbard's office is kept the same way he kept it, and they lay clothes out for him, waiting for him to return so that it's ready for him when he returns. Yeah, so it's a scary place if you're a regular human, but
I love that too. You know, if you're a regular human, it is very scary. But for you oddballs out there, maybe not so much. I know that's not what you meant. It just struck me. It's funny.
As cults do, they control you so tightly that you can't you can't leave. That's why I mean, I don't call a lot of things cults, but that's why I call this particular religion a cult, because they're
Yes, it is completely a cult. Completely a cult. And I'm glad they're calling it that. And I'm glad that they're talking about it and raising awareness. I mean, Melissa Dougherty has a large channel. So that's just fantastic. And I saw similar comments too. Yeah, some of that old timey radio stuff, like, again, I'm not hating on it or knocking it. I'm hating on Scientology for trying to do that, because it just screams, we know you won't come in to learn about Scientology, but what if we offered some free entertainment? Will that get you there? And then we're gonna have you watch some films about Dianetics and Scientology and L. Ron Hubbard, because L. Ron Hubbard is amazing and his birthday's coming up. We'll see. We'll see if anybody shows up. I think usually they have Scientologists go to that too, to be some seat fillers. You know what I'm saying? Fill some seats for Scientology. Now let's take a look at a clip from Kelly Copter when she interviewed the one, the only Philip Jones, who was here in the chat, because they were talking about his time in Scientology and how Scientology influences its members when it comes to hiring or firing Scientologists, or people who are in good standing with Scientology or not good standing in Scientology. Can you imagine you're running a company and maybe you're Lutheran and some of your employees are Lutheran, but a couple of them were like, you know what? Nah, we're not down with this anymore. We want to practice a different religion or no religion at all. And the employer was like, oh, no, you can't do that. You're fired. I can't have you work for me if the Lutheran Church doesn't approve of your actions and what you're doing. Yeah, that was this. Listen to this. Check it out.
How exactly do they enact this disconnection? Like in practical terms, what do they do to make it real?
Well, in the past, they would issue a suppressive declare order, and what was happening, I think some people were publishing them online, so they stopped actually giving them out. I went to see a guy I had done work for years, made him tons of money, and he told me flat out, he said, "You can't work for me if you're not in good standing with Scientology."
You can't work for me if you're not in good standing with Scientology. I mean, I know that's not surprising. We've heard similar stories and things like that, right? But dang, can you imagine, again, in another scenario? But they don't see it that way to the Scientologists. This is part of the indoctrination, because they believe everything they do has to be in the direction of clearing the planet, even though Scientology can't clear a street. But we're going to clear the planet. If that is how they think, that they also think that by labeling a person as a suppressive person, you're leaving the door open just a crack for them to come crawling back and do their amends and their steps for getting back into the good graces of Scientology, so that Scientologists will hire them, so Scientologists will date them. That's right, Kelly Copter, they can clear your bank account. That's what they're good at clearing. I agree. You're so right. It's actually really funny. They can clear your bank account. So true. My gosh, it's so true. It's so true. It's embarrassing, but it is true. More and more are catching on. But yeah, again, Natalie today looks back on Scientology, Natalie, and cringes just about so much. There's just so much. Oh, hold on, you guys. Life After a Cult Hotline. This is Natalie. How can I help you? Oh, hopefully I didn't lose them. My phone just fell. Oh, you're there. Okay, good. How can I help you? Yeah. Have you've been pressured into a life-changing opportunity? Well, tell me. You think you might be in a cult? All right. Well, you know what? Take a deep breath and we are going to figure this out together. We are. First question. Do they promise you total financial freedom? Is that what you said? Okay. But only if you work hard and believe. Oh, yeah. You got to believe. Oh, they did what? Oh, And they say something like, you just have to invest in yourself while aggressively making eye contact. Oh, that's a red flag. The eye contact for sure. Yeah, no, strong red flag. Do they have a central leader? A figure everyone worships. A guy named Trevor, who only wears designer sneakers and constantly posts what? Photos of himself next to rented sports cars. That's a little unusual. Yeah. And everyone calls him a genius, even though he dropped out of college and somehow never has a real job. I mean, in full defense, I mean, like, I think Bill Gates dropped out of college, but I get what you're saying. Not ever a real job. Wow. Okay. Yeah. I mean, Trevor is checking some boxes here. Yeah. That's textbook cult leader energy. Are you being financially exploited? They sold you a starter kit. How much was it? $499. And it just contains what? 3 bottles of vitamins and some DVDs. DVDs, you said, as in like those discs we put in those machines. Okay. No, I mean, that would be a red flag with me too. Okay. This is getting serious. Do they pressure you to recruit others? Yep. They told you it's not a pyramid scheme. It's an inverted wealth distribution model. Oh my gosh. That's just fancy words for a pyramid scheme. Okay, final question. If you tried to leave, what would happen? They tell you you're giving up on your dreams, that you just don't have the mindset for success. And they flood your DMs with, I thought you were different. Wow. Yeah, that is emotional manipulation and guilt tripping. All right, I got some good news and I have some bad news. The good news, you're not in a cult necessarily. The bad news, you joined an MLM. Yeah. No, you should get out now. Yeah. No, block Trevor. Burn the starter kit. And if anyone says, hey, girl, I have an amazing opportunity for you, run. Run. No, it is my pleasure. You have a cult-free day. Oh. Helping the people. It's borderline. I mean, sometimes I feel like those MLMs are actually, kind of culty. I don't know a ton about them. It's still a deep dive that I want to do and get into because I do hear a lot that there's some cult tactics that are used. Philip Jones says, damn, Trevor sold me his lectures on 8-track tapes. I feel ripped off. Yeah. Did you have to get a new car, Phil? I mean, you got to get a car to play 8-track tapes, something vintage. You have to get a car that came out when the shirt came out. It's probably the same. RSM, how are all the crazies getting that phone number? Well, I mean, it is a life after a cult hotline and it is advertised in some places. And, I'm here to help because a lot of people are wondering right now, am I in a cult? Oh my gosh, am I in a cult? And I'm here for it. Got to educate. Tony Hoban says MLM's definitely cult. They do scare me. I've shared with you guys, right? Okay. Cue the dramatic music. I don't have any queued up, so just pretend because I don't even think I have any dramatic music in my thing, but cue the dramatic music. Yeah. I have had a fear of MLMs. When I get on an airplane, I think I've told you guys this before. My anxiety is not that the airplane will crash. It's that someone will try and turn me into a sister wife or join their MLM. Like I'm going to get stuck next to somebody. And that's going to be the conversation. And it happened to me twice and I have flown a ton. So you would think like, that's not the more likely scenario to happen, but still I'm on alert, you guys. I spent 35 years in a cult. I'm like, radar's up. Sometimes a little too much, but hey, a girl has to keep herself safe on an airplane. Yeah, I'm a sister wife. I don't know why. My brain goes there. Yeah, that's totally where it goes. Ooh, are you trying to make me a sister wife? Is this Amway? Like, what is it? Why are you talking to me? Yeah, mock. Exactly. That's what noise canceling headphones are for. I'll put the headphones in right away and I just start watching a movie. I do. I'll be friendly at the end. at the end of the flight. I don't want to invite too many questions. Samantha, it was the MLM that happened twice, not a sister wife proposition. Although one was borderline, honestly, I can't be totally sure, but it did make me go, ooh, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not feeling comfortable here. All right, where are we? Where are we? Okay, we are at, oh my gosh, this video. Oh, Mark Bunker is like 4K'ing all these videos, and it is fabulous. I want to show you a clip from one of them where we get to see this is how Scientology trolled before the internet. They troll today. Office of Special Affairs and all of your volunteers out there. By the way, Office of Special Affairs and volunteers, hit the like button. I just feel like it's only fair. I'm providing entertaining and educational content. I know you have your job to do, but you know it's funny. You know you enjoy it. You know you fight each other. In my mind, you fight each other to be able to watch my channel. So the least you could do is show some aloha to that like button. Office of Special Affairs and volunteers. All right, so take a look at this. This is literally how Scientology trolled in person before the internet. Now they do it online. Look at this. This is over at Xenu TV. You gotta sub and follow Xenu TV. He's got such great content, and so much of this is from years ago, but really helps you understand the Scientology mindset.
You're the office manager. You gotta.
So we've got the guy protesting Scientology with a sign, and the Scientologist who is trolling him here on the street in front of. This is in Clearwater.
Answer the question. That's the law. I don't even answer my email. You don't answer.
He's trying to get him to answer some question, and dude's like, I don't even answer my email. But he keeps on with the trolling.
Anything. Why should I? Because you're on marijuana. You're on marijuana.
Oh, you're on marijuana? You're on marijuana? I mean, fast forward, it's 2025. Half the people around here are on marijuana. It's like, come on, but I get it back in the day. But this is a good example. Scientology will use, even today, about its critics. They still try. She's on marijuana. Yeah, everybody knows that. It's legal here in Minnesota. I'm not on it right now, though it is Friday and I would like to be. But no, I'm doing my job right now. They use this to go after people. They don't even update it. You know what I'm saying? They're still on this whole marijuana thing. They're on marijuana. But this is the in-person trolling. This is what it looked like, before they really got on the internet.
There's no conscience or nothing in this. I didn't even know the word Scientology.
Oh, this one, they're kind of like double teaming. You got two Scientology trolls.
Well, it's already been the court, man. She died of it. It was a blood clot. You ever see the autopsy pictures of it?
And they're talking about Lisa McPherson's autopsy photos, and the Scientologists don't really take it well.
Those are a pervert. Those pictures were done.
He gets asked, the protester asked, did you see the autopsy photos of Lisa McPherson? And of course, Scientology responds in a very non sequitur way. Philip Jones says, now Scientologists just run away when protesters show up. Yeah, exactly. It is. I'm going to link that down below. Check it out. It really is such an eye-opener. Whoops. It is an eye-opener because nothing has changed in the Scientology playbook. They just got online and they're not doing it in person because it can be live streamed and put on the internet. And it was back then. Mark Bunker put it on the internet. The Lisa McPherson Trust shared and put it on the internet. And so Scientology to that degree had to change their tactics. They didn't completely because years later, they still had, what did they call it? Their squirrel busters who would go out with their cameras and try and verbally assault and try to introvert people who were, exposing Scientology, because that's what they do, accusing everyone of being on the marijuana. You're on the marijuana. I know it was back in the day, but it's still funny. It's still funny. So check that out. I've really been loving watching some of these videos on Mark Bunker's channel. It's Xenu TV. I'm going to link everything below after this. I totally am. All right. Now we got to talk about Dan Walks LA. Dan Walks LA has an uncanny ability to, what is the word? The craziest things happen. Characters spawn, new characters are unlocked. Dan Walks LA is just this magnet. It is amazing to watch. He also does an amazing job of educating people about why Scientology is a cult, what they're really doing at the Hollywood Testing Center. But you guys, this video, it's a long video, but I'm going to tell you, it is worth every minute. We're going to look at multiple clips and it just scratches the surface. Don't think because you saw these clips, you saw the whole video. There's so much more. I could have done an entire 1 hour live stream just talking about Dan Walks LA and this particular video. And this happens over and over with Dan and the way that he handles things. It's fantastic. I love it. It's fire, as the kids say. It's total fire. So he starts out, or where we're starting out, he's in front of the Hollywood Testing Center and he's out there doing some chalking. And this is kind of where things kick off for us here in our little walk with Dan Walks LA.
It wasn't me. I swear I didn't do it. I'm literally yellow. I look like a lemon. Hi, everybody. It wasn't me. It was me. Hi, it's me. I'm the problem. It's me. Actually, the problem is Scientology. Hey. I'm glad I brought like a whole roll of paper towel and like stuffed it in my pocket.
Is that a paper towel in your pocket? Are you happy to see me? People, they walk down the sidewalk, so he has to kind of clean up the letters on there with the chalk tack. But right there in front of Scientology on Hollywood Boulevard, Scientology abuses kids. Scientology is a cult. Right in front of the door, right in front of the security cameras where they can see it too. So they have to look at that. So I know, Kelly Copter, I thought that was funny. It wasn't me. Oh, it gets even better. It gets even better. So hold on here. Let me pull up this next clip here. You got to see this. This actually, when I first started watching the video, this was the interesting thing for me is I ended up going forward and this is where I started. And when I heard what Dan said, I'm like, what happened before this? Like, I want to look and see. And I did. But for me, this is kind of where you realize like some stuff went down earlier.
Cult's gonna cult. Hell yeah. Oh my God. I was like, what character's going to spawn next?
So when he said that, after I watched this section of the video, I went back like, wait a minute, what happened? What is he talking about when he says what characters are going to spawn next? Oh, I found out. But this was such a great interaction too. Watch this.
Good to see you.
And if you don't know, that is Scientology Audit Streets LA, William Good, who initially started the protest, the live streaming outside of the Hollywood Testing Center a little over a year ago.
They were open this morning when I was walking the dog, and I'm like, oh, bitch, I'm going to be back.
Were they open and standing out here or just open?
They were open and standing out here.
Out here?
Out here. 2 days in a row now. 2 days in a row. There's like an older gentleman now, kind of heavy set, gray hair. Yeah, and I think Toucan as well, but I'm not sure if it was her.
And they were dressed in normal clothing, or
they were dressed in normal clothing. Toucan had a red shirt on, but I don't think it said Dianetics or anything. But I was like, oh, that's on brand. But no. But they 2 days in a row, and over the weekend I drive by. Why?
Every time I get close, I can't get anywhere. I honestly feel like they're either 24 hours a day on these.
So it is interesting that they are trying to recruit again. They're opening the doors when people are not there and out there trying to recruit. This woman walks by and joins the conversation and ends up having a fairly lengthy conversation with Dan. We'll watch part of it, but I've got other clips to show you.
Camera?
Oh, yeah.
Or they're tracking my phone.
Oh, I can't
get, if I get a block away, the doors.
They're like, yeah, exactly. They get warning.
I sneak around on this block right here and creep around the corner. As soon as I come over there to speak it, that door is closed. I've come over there. I've tried timing up the lights so I could make it over here on a scooter rolling through. Then for like a few days, you're not allowed to ride scooters over there. It locks up. They took that away for 5 days.
Oh, God.
They opened it up. So I was riding through here on scooters, everything. As soon as
trying to get there fast,
As soon as I was getting close, I got a few of them. When I was getting close, they were kicking people out and closing the door. No. So I talked to a few of them. I gotta post those.
Oh, that's good. But it's so funny that you say that because I try to like hide passing the Sycamore building, Able down.
So I'm going to link it down below, but you're able to see, like, she stuck around for a while, that lady. And I feel like it was just part of how this day went. And they had some interesting conversations about religion. I think she tried a little bit to recruit Dan into hers, but I think he did a good job handling it. So you can finish watching that. We're going to look at more clips from Dan Walks LA, but I'm telling you, the whole video. Does it matter to you? Not to me. Yes, that's Hollywood. Hollywood got Holly weird with Dan. And we're going to look at a couple more clips. You guys are not going to believe who he saw. You are not going to believe it. There were a few characters. Watch this one.
So in honor of what this gentleman says, I send love even to Scientology because the people that hurt people the most need love the most.
That's right.
So we are all no, there is no such thing as good or bad. There is only love, and all I can say is this: I'm happily excommunicated from the Scientology church. They kicked me out because I'll tell you the story. One time I came over to them, and they said, Joey, we got this amazing course. It's only $250,000. It's called the Bridge to Enlightenment. And I turned to my teacher and I'm like, you mean the bridge to bullshit?
That's right. And gone. Suppressive person.
God, you know what, Tom Cruise? I love you.
I think this guy loves everybody. He's just spreading love there. I know, Queen of Karma, he's using his kid as an armrest. He had a lot to say. This was not the end of the conversation. He even kind of came back again. I'm telling you, this video is full of all kinds of characters. Amy says, is he using his kid as furniture? Like a step stool? All right. Not only, though, are characters spawning and new characters being unlocked, but Dan's also educating about the truth about Scientology. And he's massively popular. Look at this.
That's right, man. How's it going?
We miss you, bro.
Out here when I can, you know? The chalk's getting a lot of attention, though. You know, that's right.
Do you know this because of you? They stopped almost like.
Well, I wouldn't say it's just because the streets LA. There's been a whole bunch of people that help. For sure. There's a lot of people.
I was trying to take a little girl inside.
Yeah.
And tell her, hey, stop.
Did you hear that? This guy like stopped them from taking a young girl in.
Yeah. See, that's where it starts. If we can have those conversations with the public and the public starts seeing it and warns people, that's how it grows, and that's how we shut them down. But they are open, they are operating, but now that I'm out here, doors are closed.
They're always here, but they start.
Yeah, no. But they've been getting a little more confident and so proud, so brave, and like trying to get out here and actually recruit on the sidewalk, you know, and then somebody walks by with the camera and they're like, oh my God, everybody in the call, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, he's getting recognized out there, and I thought that was fantastic, but you're not gonna believe this one. I'll save the best for last. Many of you will recognize this person. Tell us in the chat, jump in the replay, and let us know if you know who this is. We're gonna watch it, and then we will talk about it, and I will tell you, but I think the chat will know before I ever say who and what it is here. So let's look at this. Check it out.
My neighbor. God bless you, Dan. Honestly, I like you.
You're one of the best. Thank you very much.
God bless.
Keep on going.
Oh,
Just kill me now.
I don't know if you could hear. Dan was like, keep on going. Kill me now. Do we know? Do you guys know who that was? I'm checking the chat. Yes. Yes, that's right, Pam. Rocket. None other than Joey Rocket. This is the guy who tried to claim elder abuse, elder stalking against Scientology audit Streets LA. And I'm pretty sure he owes a ton of money to Streets LA's lawyer. But yeah, do you believe it? The fist bump. That's right. Keep on going. Keep on going. Dan has got an entire episode of stuff going on when he is out there. And again, Dan Walks LA. You can find him here on YouTube. I will link it down below. It is, if you're looking for Scientology education and entertainment, look no further. That's right, Joey Rocket. I could not believe it. I was like, what is happening? What is happening? And like I told you, I didn't even share everything. There is so much more in that video. I think this was, Jamie, I saw your question. I think it was a couple days ago. Maybe 2 days, but it was recent. It was recent. But can you imagine all that, like all these characters popping up, new characters unleashed? It's fun to protest Scientology and educate about Scientology. At least Dan makes it really fun. That's right. Doesn't matter to you, not to me. All you have to do is show up, especially in Hollywood. That's right, Tony Hoban. Joey Rocket sure is walking great now. Wasn't he sliding down walls in the courthouse with his cane and stuff? Seems fine now. I agree. And it's not like he doesn't know that Dan's live streaming either. That's kind of the funny part to me as well. I'm like, what's happening? Paralyzed to paralyzed. Joey's more famous on SPTV than anywhere else. Yeah, apparently he was some child actor or something. I don't remember that part of the story. My menopause brain can't save all of it because I'll start forgetting the names of my grandchildren, and that's already hit and miss as it is. Can't remember the details about Joey Rocket, but I know you guys will. He was some kind of like childhood something or other, right? Actor or whatever. Let's talk about some of your answers to the question. If you could ask a current Scientologist anything, what would you ask? A cute pumpkin clodhopper. My question would be, if you found out that your entire belief system was a complete lie, what would you do? That is one that could cause crisis, but that's exactly the kind of questions, because put yourself in those shoes, right? I don't know if they would, but I love that question. That's a great one. Mama Opal, if no one would retaliate against you, what changes would you suggest Scientology make to improve? Nobody asked Scientologists that. That is such a great question as well. That is something like, no. They're not asking. They're not asking that. They're not. Now, here's what happens. And I can say this from experience because I've seen even my own family members think this would work, where they write reports. They write reports up to the Religious Technology Center. They do. They write these reports thinking that, well, this is a violation of L. Ron Hubbard policy. Surely they're going to change this, not understanding that the current cult leader, David Miscavige, like this is his jam. He put his own stank on Scientology and running Scientology. It's actually not going to help because he's a cult leader. And eventually they get frustrated with the lack of change and they leave. Or some of them just go, oh, okay, I guess this is just how we do things now. David Miscavige knows better. He knows better. Northern Girl, when can you expect the planet to be cleared? Just a ballpark figure will suffice. Exactly. When? How are you going to clear a whole planet? I always joke they can't clear a street, but I don't know, start with a city even, move out from there, right? Drop the pebble. Eat the elephant one bite at a time? No, they're not doing that. Fire and Ice, do you have family outside of Cult of Scientology that you would like to reconnect to without consequences? A bunch of them are going to be like, yes. Diane Jarrist, it would have to be a question you would not expect an answer to. Yes, but our hypothetical is, what if? What if they could actually answer it? Mock says, do you feel you're getting the full worth out of your investment? Out exchange is a thing in Scientology. Mock, that is an excellent point, and it is. And it's one of the many contradictions in Scientology. Because Scientology says, hey, You get something, you give something. Now, on the surface, that's like, okay, well, yeah, right. I mean, exchange, that's a concept, right? We go to a grocery store and get food, we pay money. But in Scientology, everything is transactional. Relationships are transactional. And that is the problem. And they use this concept of exchange, and I'm putting that in quotes, to control people. Oh, they use guilt, they use emotional manipulation, emotional blackmail, outright blackmail, let's be honest, to get people to think you're not doing enough. You're not giving enough to Scientology. You gave one kid to the Sea Org. You got 2 more at home. What have you done for us lately? Do you feel you're getting the full worth out of your investment? Oh, wait, no, I just read that one. Okay, fantastic. Linda Lou, how do you personally feel about having to ask for permission to go somewhere or do anything? Yes, especially in the Sea organization today. That is very much a thing. Even in my day, we couldn't, you couldn't just like go take off. I mean, I snuck away a couple of times, but really you're supposed to be checking in and having permission to leave the base like that. Florence, what does freedom look like for you? That is a fantastic question too. Cats hate cults. I love this. What brings you joy? That's a thought stopper there, in my opinion, because Scientologists are never asked, what brings you joy? What makes you happy? What would you like? What are your goals? In the beginning, Scientology will ask you that. What are your goals? Oh, yeah, we can help you with that. And then little by little, it becomes your goals are crap. Your goals, here's your new goals now. Here's your new goals. Yep, you're clearing the planet now. Yeah, you joined a cult. You're clearing the planet. No, you don't have to wear a matching outfit unless you're in the Sea Org or a staff member. Then we're going to dress you up like flight attendants and people who, a maitre d' at a restaurant. What's up with the vests? I just hope there's lots of pockets in it. So at least, where Scientologists can like put their cigarettes. I don't know what they're putting in pockets these days. But that's a great question. Cats hate cults. Rachel, who is the one person you're banned from talking to that you would reach out to if you could? That's a good one too. Does it matter to you? Not to me. Is there any reason for parents to stop communicating with their children? Yes, that is a good one, because they're going to say, oh, no, there is. Oh, no, there's not. But it makes them think about it. It makes them have to look at it. Cats, bats, and flowers. To Scientologists, when was the last time you had a good night's sleep? Especially Sea Org members and staff members. That's a really good one for them. It really is. Lacey, Silver Emotional Support Canadian. Are you a true believer, and would you leave if you found out it was all a lie? Oh, that's a great question too, Lacey. I would love to see answers to that. Hunter Bay, how much money have you spent on materials? Oh, that's going to be like, boom, just a stab in the heart there because it's painful. Maybe a stab in the heart, maybe be a little bit more up, where. But yeah, no, that's bad. Cats hate cult. What brings you joy? Yes. Anne from MA. Do you ever wonder what your life would be like if you never joined the cult of Scientology? They do. They do. I used to think that a lot, especially in the Sea Org. What would my life be like? I want to be outside. I want to listen to music. I want to go to things. I want to be like hang out with my friends. I was a teenager too then. Started off as a teenager. So of course I wanted those things. Let's see here. Where am I? Lady Victoria, how do you feel about being audited by a child? That is a great question. Now, most Scientologists may not have an answer for that because they themselves, these days, they don't have the young kids in there, but they still have teenagers who are kids auditing adults, who adults are auditing and talking about inappropriate sexual things. That is still completely going on because children are big beings in little bodies. They should get the same services as everybody else. That's a great question. Cooler by the Lake, knowing what you personally know about Scientology, would you allow your children to become involved? Excellent question. And I knew a lot of Scientologists that didn't let their children get involved. They kept them at a distance, even sent them to college. Now, some of them came back and then still ended up being recruited by Scientology, but at least when they leave Scientology, they'll have had this experience in the real world of going off to college and of getting a degree, which can help them get an actual real job. Arkansas Flamingo, I'd ask a current Scientologist, why can't you talk about your religion to me? Not just tell me to read a book. Exactly, because that's the first rule in Scientology. Don't talk about Scientology. Don't you dare. Victoria, what is it about Scientology that keeps you still in it? Oh, I love that question. That would be very reflective for a Scientologist. I think it really would be. Reprise 53. Actually, there isn't any latitude in grading the test. You overlay a template and the answers have point value that adds up to make the line on the graph. I've graded them. Oh, for the personality test. Absolutely. You are correct. Victoria, is the Oxford personality test a real thing or did LRH make it up? I don't know. LRH did not make it up. I don't know where the test actually came from, but we do know how it is used, the way that Scientology uses it. Dino Nuggets Legacy, I belong to the Office of Normal Affairs. Anna, do you understand the cult of Scientology definition of the word squirrel? Can you think of anyone in the cult of Scientology who this may apply? Exactly. Do you know anyone in Scientology management who's squirreling L. Ron Hubbard's tech? Do you know anyone in Scientology management who's saying to do all this fundraising after L. Ron Hubbard specifically called it out in a policy letter? Never do fundraising? I mean, sure, sell them ridiculous services for way too much money that aren't actually going to give them what you're promising. But yeah, powerless to paralyze. How they ever explained what it'll cost you to leave? Have they ever explained what it'll cost you to leave? Good one. Victoria, what happens when you don't take another body after 21 years? I'm guessing 21 is a random number. Yeah, it probably is. Nothing happens. What are they going to do? Hunt you down in your other lifetime? Yeah, nothing. It just doesn't happen. Although there have been multiple people. When you're born into Scientology, that is a narrative they push on you. That if you're born into a Scientology family, and some of my former ins might be able to speak on this, it's heavily pushed that you are a previous Scientologist in another lifetime, and that's why you were able enough to be born into a Scientology family. I mean, oh my God, it's just giving me a headache even thinking about that. My head is like, oh. Ann Jones, have you ever read a book other than L. Ron Hubbard books? Oh, good one. Anna, I wonder how many current members would, if actually possible, return as a Scientologist in a next lifetime? Yeah, none. I don't know of anybody that's like, oh my gosh, I'm at the end of my life. And you know what? I can't wait to come back, grow up, and be a slave to Scientology once again. Philip Jones. If LRH really comes back, do you actually think he's going to come to your loser org to use that empty office you've set up for him? That's really funny because it's funny to imagine Phil Jones saying, "You're loser org." Every org is losing. That's the thing. When we were in Scientology, we were all like, "Oh, it's just where I live. It's just my location. It's just, it's just slow here, but everywhere there's millions of members, just not here." No, you realize that, yeah, no, everywhere. There's not. There's not. Phil Jones, I would love to do a video with Natalie asking me all these questions and I answer as a Scientologist would. Phil, let's do it. Let's do it. We need to cut and paste these questions. Let's do it. Let's set up a time and let's do it. I am all for it. There's a bunch more. I gotta bounce, but yeah, you guys probably saw them in the chat. I love that question. I do. So check it out. Do me a solid. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, but most importantly on this Aloha Friday, I hope you guys get out and you have just an amazing cult-free day.